Hey babes, I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Beverly. Grab your favorite drink. Let's sip and chat.
Welcome to Tipsy and Truthful, the podcast.
Period. Hey babes, welcome back to another episode of Tipsy and Truthful, the podcast where two best friends sip and chat about life, relationships, parenthood, and everything in between. I'm Beverly.
And I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Jessica.
Damn, she screamed. She's been dying to do that. So today we're joined by our lovely editor, producer / she has to do everything because before it's her, Jess. We were actually having a conversation and we decided we wanted.
So natural.
So natural. She's like, I'm Jessica.
Well, I'm saying about the conversation too.
Conversation. Oh, that too, yeah. We decided we wanted to hop on the pod and, continue the conversation because it's a good one. But before we get into that, if you've listened to this pod before, you know that we do every week our highs and our opportunities. Would you like to start, Miss Cynthia?
I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a very stale week. It's been the first week of nothing for real. Like I don't have errands to run really. So it's like it's been a mental challenge, to keep myself focused on the things I have to do, aka getting a job, remote preferably, and I've just been putting my energy in that. So that's been my week. My opportunity is not getting in my head. I've been trying to stay
positive. Walking in faith. You said you were
for
trying to
sure walking in faith, but keeping myself in check, not just saying it, but like acting on it. Anytime I feel like like turning down jobs or like not taking, like I don't want to regret decisions that I made because I made them for a reason. Because I turned down, some opportunities because I was like, I don't feel like this is the right thing.
Yeah.
And so now I need to like stick to that.
Yeah.
I said it for a reason because I felt a certain type of way and I know that it's going to be okay. But sometimes that gets in the way of like, I'm scared of like, ooh, how about if that was the opportunity or this or that? So it's just keeping myself like true to myself, like really walking in faith, but acting on it. So that's my opportunity.
Okay. So for my week, my opportunity is my freakouts. You know how you say you want to walk in faith? I was not doing that this week. Jace ended he had an all-day ABA program and he ended on Monday. He's been there for 3 years. And he's supposed to start a new one on the next Monday. And because he was home and I still had to work, I was freaking out about like how am I gonna do anything with Jace home? And then they told me that he wasn't gonna start like
on Monday, it was planned.
Because like there was an issue with the insurance. Yeah, I freaked out initially, right? So that's my opportunity. But my high of the week is that I bounced back quickly. Like I reminded myself, and I even told you, Cynthia, about this. Like, no, everything's gonna be okay. Like me freaking out is not gonna solve anything. So like I got on the phone. I was a squeaky wheel, and I was annoying. But I got on Friday. Like at 1, I got a call that he's all set for Monday. So yeah, both of those things kind of wrapped in one were the opportunity and the high.
For sure.
Do you want to do one, Jess, or no?
And I actually, before Jess takes off, I do want to say that I am proud of you.
Thank you, babe.
Because when was it? Yesterday?
Yeah, Friday. I got locked out of my car.
Yesterday was not Friday. Thursday.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's why I'm like, what is she talking about? But yeah, you had so many situations where you could have lost your cool.
My marbles?
Yeah. And you didn't. You stayed grounded. Yeah. You stayed calm. You got everything done. And it was fine. And I told you, I'm happy. I'm proud of you because you were able to, in situations where you would have lost your marbles, you didn't. You were super chill about it.
I kept it cool. I was proud of me too.
Yeah.
And it was very intentional. Because my initial instinct, my body tenses up right away. And I'm like, here we go. But no.
It's because we're used to that feeling of like, of pain, of stress and all that.
And
our body actually thrives on that.
You think?
It's programmed to thrive on that. So any opportunity that it can, it will. Any opportunity that it sees to lose, get stressed, that cortisol or whatever stuff that we feel from it, whatever it does, it's a high for our body. Like, we know that we have to break those chains because it's not really good, but our body's used to it. So it seeks out opportunity to do that because it's what it knows.
And that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
My body, I was like, oh, how can we freak out right now?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we were having a conversation earlier, and we can go back to that. It pretty much started with Jessica talking about one of her friends, right? Mm-hmm. Who has a situation where she wants to move to a different state, and her husband is not 100% on board. We were talking about she was telling us like that this friend has made a lot of sacrifices for her husband, and that it's basically like his turn. You know, we've had this conversation on this podcast before about like compromise versus sacrifice. And she's basically saying that in her opinion.
Before we even get in that, explain, because some people might not know the difference between compromise and sacrifice.
I think for me, the difference that I see, and I didn't know this before, I heard somebody else explain it. But
No, for sure.
Yes, on that No For Sure podcast, Megan Ashley explained it. I love that podcast. When you compromise, you're basically giving something up. Knowing that like you're gonna be missing that kind of. I don't have like the right words right now to explain it, but the sacrifice is you knowing that you're giving something up, but you're doing it out of love. You're doing it because you're doing it for your partner, for your child, for your parent, for whomever. You're making a conscious decision to make this sacrifice for your relationship to move forward. I feel like a compromise leaves space for resentment, and a sacrifice is you saying, I know that this is something that I'm doing for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But I thought a compromise also, I mean, I get what you're saying.
The wording, I don't remember the way I said it in that when we talked about it in that episode, because my pregnancy brain is out of this world. Do you remember the wording I used? No. But let's Google it.
Anyways, I have to Google it because now it's driving me nuts.
Compromise.
It's an agreement or a settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions.
Okay, so a compromise, both sides are quote unquote sacrificing something. Mm-hmm. Both sides are saying, I'll give in this. Mm-hmm. And a sacrifice, let's see, definition of.
So listen, I put compromise versus sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Everyone involved must give up something for it to be called a compromise. A compromise works out differences. A sacrifice is a solo act done to strengthen the bond between two people.
Period. That's the right wording. Mm-hmm. And that's why when we say compromise versus sacrifice, for me, a sacrifice is way more significant, way more important, and weighs more, you know?
I get what you're saying.
Okay, thank you. The words are not coming to me right now.
Pregnancy brain, guys. Bear with her. So anyways, yeah.
So tell us what you were telling us about your friend.
And she has a mic this week, guys.
Yeah, Jessica's like actually on the pod.
Yeah, I feel special.
Oh, qué linda.
Even though we're in her space in her house.
Literally.
So yeah, invading right now. I should be sleeping.
But you're not. You're
tomorrow.
Here.
It basically started with me saying that it sucks that this person has to quit their job to move to another state and start all over when they're getting, when they're settling right now and they're starting to build their own legacy or whatever. So now they're getting paid good and, to leave all that to start all over again.
This is the husband.
Yeah, this is the husband. Okay. To another state, it sucks. Mm-hmm. And then that's where Cynthia kind of said that, sacrifices and stuff like that. And it's true. It's time for him to make the sacrifice. It sucks, but it's time for him to make a sacrifice.
And I hear what you're saying and what I was saying.
But I wasn't going to go that way.
No?
I wasn't going to go with him make the sacrifice.
What were you going to go with?
I was going to say that if they want this relationship to work, because he's not established yet, I feel like she needs to continue to make sacrifices. Mm. And that's hard to hear because you would think that at this point in their life, you would say it's easy to say it's time for him to make sacrifices. But if we look at all of it, it's hard for him to make sacrifices
And I hear what you're saying, Cynthia, and I understand that too. But I think we need to go back and give a little bit of background on the conversation. So, Beverly, do you want to do that?
Okay, so the conversation we were having earlier is one of Jessica's friends. She had told us that when they met, they lived in two different states. And he moved over to this state where she resides. And that's how they were able to move their relationship forward. They got married and all that. And what I was saying is that was already like a sacrifice. Jessica disagrees because what she said was, well, she was more established here, so it just made more sense for him to move from his state to here anyway. Which I get, but he also had to start all over.
So he started all over 2 times already, if you think about it. So he leaves his country, right? Already. Comes to a state where he has no support at all.
Right. That was like
that was already sacrifice 1.
Right.
Gets with the your friend and decides that it's better for their relationship if he moves where she's at.
Right.
Not
so that's
only
another
for
sacrifice.
The relationship is also convenient for him because she's the one who's gonna help him
because she's
to
more
get
established
where he's gonna get now.
I
get that. I get that, but she wasn't the one making the move. And no matter how you look at it, for your convenience or not, it's still a sacrifice.
Right.
To have to, again, be like, all right, I have to trust
like,
that this is going to be
and like,
convenient for me.
Right.
And for our relationship and to where I want to be in my life. And I have to pick up everything I know after it took so much time and sacrifice. And I'm still not there yet. And leave the work, the little bit of work that I've already, the little leeway that, I've already established, to leave all that, come here again. And start again building a support system. No matter how you no matter how you look at it, I think that he's already made a lot of sacrifices.
Right.
Even if it benefited him.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
I think the reason why I don't see it as a sacrifice for him is because it didn't have much.
Doesn't matter.
He was living in a room, right? And that's it. He didn't have much going on for him. He just got a job.
And I understand that, but I need you to look at it through these lenses. If it didn't work out between them, where was he going to go?
Right back to New York.
But he didn't have a support system there. He had to start all over, finding roommates, finding another job, doing all of that in a city and in a state where it's already cutthroat. It's survival of the fittest. It's already hard to survive there. New York is not a place for the faint of heart.
Right.
Like that place is cutthroat, even for people that were born and raised there. So can you imagine?
And let's add the language barrier, right? Your husband doesn't know English.
Not at all.
Your friend's husband, he doesn't know English either. So anytime he moves, the challenges become a lot. Like in our community, that's an unfortunate like side effect of like, okay, we right now we're in Massachusetts where a lot of places you don't need to know English. But
thankfully, yeah.
So is New York.
Either way, it's a challenge because applications don't usually come in English.
And just think of the competition.
Like, exactly.
That's my biggest thing. New York, there's so many people that are trying to survive there that you go right now to look at an apartment and 2 seconds later, you're like, I want the apartment. I already rented it. You weren't quick enough. Same with the job.
The point is, Cynthia and I both see it this way.
Yeah.
Although, yes, he had less to lose maybe than if she would have moved to New York. It was still a sacrifice either way. I feel like I don't want to take that away from him.
No.
Right? And I agree with Cynthia where if he did decide to like pick up and move, because from what you told me, they're still like discussing it, right?
Right.
Okay. If he did pick up and everything and move to a new state all over again, even though, yes, he's with his wife, she's all set. She has her job. She has her job. She knows English. He just
have to drive a little longer, but he does have his job over there too.
Okay, that changes things.
That's where the sacrifice comes along. Like, she already brought you over here, did what she had to do to get you where you needed to get. So how about you step it up now and sacrifice yourself a little bit and drive a little longer so you guys can, buy your house and be all set instead of paying rent. You want to move there. You want to move to the state. But the only issue is that this job, which is paying you well, it's an hour away from where you're going to live.
Is it only an hour?
It's only an hour.
We just came from from Florida.
Ugh.
And even going to the supermarket takes half an hour.
It's yeah.
That's down the street.
Yeah.
The traffic.
So that's what I'm saying. Are you sure from one city to the other it's only an hour?
That's
it
what he
seems like
said.
it would be a lot longer.
That's what he said.
That's
And even if it's an hour and a half longer, that's fine. This is the thing. They need to talk about it a little bit more and maybe find somewhere that is closer to his job. Because
that
this person
would be
works from home.
that would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
a compromise.
Exactly.
That would be
This
exactly.
person works from home, right?
He's already
So-
sacrificing leaving here. Now the compromise would be like, I know you're looking at this area, but that's gonna be a very long drive.
Exactly. So
We need to be closer to my job.
yeah, so
because you're
gonna
gonna work from home.
50-50. Right. So she's gonna be working from home. This person wants to move there. You also want to move there, but the only reason why you don't want to do it is because of your job.
And I get that.
So how about both of you compromise a little bit? And
Because
then
she wants to stay closer to family members, right?
I don't know. I don't know what would be the reason.
Okay.
But she, this person also has to understand that there's a language barrier, and also if he's getting paid, because he gets paid more than she does,
Mm-hmm.
so that makes sense for him to keep his job.
Of course.
Yeah.
Even if you're comfortable. Now, if your family's a little bit away, then that's fine because hey, how about you
You're
take
not
the
gonna
drive?
live with your family.
Exactly.
You
can
can
take
visit.
you can take the hour drive to
Exactly.
visit your family.
But this is something that I think he has to also step it up and say like, hey, okay, I'm fine
it's
with
my
that.
turn.
But it's also you gotta agree with me a little bit and move a little closer to this place. And if you want to see your family, that's fine. You can go over the weekend.
I think that's a perfect.
That's fair.
It's a good sacrifice from his end, and a
So,
perfect
yeah.
compromise from her end.
But this is the thing, they close themselves, and
Oh, nobody's willing to budge.
I don't think that idea has even gone through their head.
Oh, well, you
Maybe
just
they
came up
need a
with it.
moderator, aka you,
Exactly.
to bring up
You
the
know
idea.
them.
Probably. I don't know. I don't like to get anybody's business.
But that's not okay. We need to stop doing that because if they're having a legitimate situation and she's already expressed to you her concerns, you already have. She's already giving you.
She's giving
right
you permission
to
Right.
say your opinion and be like, hey, have you guys thought about this? Don't be rude about it and don't
Now,
be disrespectful.
If we wanted to throw our 2 cents in, then we would be disrespectful.
Yeah,
she
because they
didn't
haven't talked
directly,
to us about that.
Like,
but
come to us.
They talked to you about it,
Mm-hmm.
and so you could bring it up and be like, hey, have you thought about this? I was just thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you guys are going to make the move and it's already a sacrifice, right? Then maybe compromise on where to look for a house or an apartment.
Right.
right.
And that brings
sounds
us
like
into our topic of sacrifice
versus
and
compromise. Yeah.
In just relationships
And
in general.
communication.
Honestly,
I'll bring that in there too.
No, for real. Because it's uncomfortable to communicate these things. Guys, you already know what our podcast is about. You already know that we've been on this journey of learning effective communication,
Yes.
being open, keeping yourself accountable, I think is the biggest thing, which is hard and uncomfortable to do. Because when you say to yourself, oh man, that you were wrong for that,
Mm-hmm.
like it hits different when
Yeah.
you're able to see that, right? I think in just listening to this conversation that just happened naturally,
Yeah.
I think about all these relationships that are unwilling to sacrifice or compromise to better their lives together. And my thing is, if you're not willing to do that in your relationship, then what is the purpose of
Mhm.
your relationship? You're working against each other. So getting to your goals is going to be much harder because you guys are not in sync.
So that one of the things I want to teach my kids for when dating begins is to look out even early in their dating stages when they start, is this person willing to sacrifice? Is this person willing to compromise? Because there's some people who are just not willing to, period. And that's a huge red flag. Like if you see that, run in the
For
opposite
me, it's
direction.
listen, is this person willing to even hear me out?
Yeah.
And that's huge because I feel like in today's society, that's something that we all, I mean, as a society, we all complain that he or she doesn't listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even listening to what I have to say. Like they're disregarding before I even get my complete thought out.
Mm.
And so for me, yes, if this person is unwilling to sacrifice or compromise or talk about what could benefit us, then that's a red flag. But also, are you willing to listen to what I have to say?
Yeah.
Are
Can
you
we
really
even get that far?
I know. Can we even get there? Before you even have to make a sacrifice or a compromise, before you even know that, can you just listen to me and really listen to me?
I
And vice
think
versa.
that that's something that I learned with my relationship.
That
to
you've learned?
sacrifice. Yeah. because I was just more selfish. Well, obviously it was alone for a long time, but I was like more selfish. It's just me.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I needed to make the sacrifices. So, you know, being in a relationship with the partner that I have right now has taught me a lot of
Well,
like,
not your
okay,
partner,
I
your
also
husband.
my husband, yeah, was my partner.
Yeah,
He's your husband.
Husband.
Well, whatever. Yeah, it definitely taught me a lot of what I need to, sacrifice and compromise in order to make my relationship work. Because it's not only him putting all the energy into the relationship, I
And you
also
nothing.
have to, yeah.
That gets me into this topic of like with my friend.
Mm.
So she called me this morning. I love her. And she said, guess what? Mind you, I was the at work therapist for everything, and especially dating, right? Because I feel like we had an episode on this. We've learned so much now after being in relationships for such a long time that if I could do things differently, like express things differently, communicate things differently, I would have. And that would have saved me a lot of heartache, a lot of frustration. And so I used to tell my girls, you guys are dating. If you guys are not doing this now, then you're going to wait till you're in a relationship to bring all this stuff up? No, bring it up now, because you're going to weed out the guys that are not willing to do the things that you want. And this is the time to do it. Like, you could be selfish. You can say, this is what I want, and I'm not budging because you're in a dating scene. So she called me today. And so to tell me that I'm a girlfriend, that's what she said. And I thought it was so cute. I was like so happy for her because she's kissed a lot of frogs. She's been in the dating scene for a long time. She gets frustrated a lot. Like, I've been with her at work when we're just going through like her, what is that app?
I don't know.
It's an app that everybody uses. You swipe left or swipe
Cupid?
right or whatever it is.
Swipe
Tinder?
right?
Huh?
Is
What?
that Tinder?
Probably
Is
Tinder,
it
something like that.
there's
I don't know.
Bumble,
I haven't been in
Tinder?
the dating
Bumblebee?
scene in a long time.
Bumblebee? I don't know.
Bumble. You're right. I think it was Bumble.
Bumble.
And so she's been on a million dates. And from the first day, she's like, this is not going to work. With all these different guys that are just like, man, the dating scene right now is just like jobs. It's so hard to like get any good perspectives. Like, it's just crazy. But she's been dating this guy for 2 months. And from the beginning, from the first day, I told her, this is it. I don't know why, compared to all the other guys, he just gave me that vibe. I didn't even talk to him. But it's just everything she was telling me, everything he did prior to their first date. He had me right there. The first date that they had, he asked her things that he liked, she liked, or things that she didn't like, all these things. And then when he went to pick her up, he like got out of his car, went out of his way when it was pouring rain, and opened up her car door. And I said, you're marrying him.
I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff that you have to find out.
It's just, I know that. But he's been, for these last 2 months that I've been in it, like hearing everything she has to say and knowing where she comes from, like the things that she's, in the dating scene, everything that she's been in, like been through with all these different frogs. He just seems like a man that was raised right, raised to know what he wants, knows how to protect, knows like all these things that she wants, and he's giving it to her, right? So I told her, I'm like, you need to make sure that you guys are on the same page, and you need to talk about, are you guys, gonna date? Or are you guys casually dating? Are you seeing anybody else? Are you just doing this for fun? Like, what is our status? And she finally, after 2 months, after going out and they met each other's friends, she was like, all right, so you do want something, she tiró el gancho. And he was like, thank God, because he was like kind of nervous to ask. He wasn't sure. But of course, it brought me to the point. She said that she woke up this morning and the first thing that she thought about was, I'm not sharing Christmas. And I told her, you need to stop right there. We haven't even got into September. And if, let's say that this relationship of yours progresses and he wants to spend Christmas in his family, you're just going to not go because you want to spend Christmas with your family? She's like, I'm going to wake up in my house with my parents. I'm like, dude, but we're getting older. And that's not the reality. At some point, you're not going to spend Christmas with your parents and your brother and your sister. And that's a scary thought. But these are things that people need to think about when they're getting into a relationship. It's all like freaking walks in the park when you're in the beginning of it. But when life starts lifing for real and you have to make these sacrifices, these choices, people don't want to do that. And it's like, at that point,
So wait a
why are
minute.
you in a relationship?
Right off the bat, she told him that she.
No, this is what she was telling me. This was her spiraling. She's like, I'm not
Damn.
sharing Christmas. I was like, no.
It's August, baby girl.
I know. She said she woke up in a panic. She hasn't had a boyfriend in a long time. So it's just all these things that now she knows that are going to be conversations that are uncomfortable. But I said, if we want this to be your husband, because I already told her the table that I want, and if I'm not there, she's like, you're going to be my officiant. And I told her that's the worst idea because we're just going to be laughing. But if this is someone that you want to grow with and see where your relationship takes you, sacrifice and compromise is going to be part of your daily conversation.
So when you're in a, like, your friend, this is still a new relationship, but
Very new.
when you're in a relationship and either if it's one person doing most of the sacrificing, or even if nobody's sacrificing, resentment can be created. Like, that's the best way to have somebody resentful, right? That's the last thing you want in your relationship, is to be resentful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this silent resentment, it's toxic. It's
Mm-hmm.
a sure way
eats you up
to end any relationship. Eventually, it's going to be too much. So in any relationship where a person is not willing to sacrifice, compromise, whatever it is, recipe for disaster.
And you know what it is? It, like you said, it's a growing. It's so heavy, especially if the other person doesn't know how much it hurts you, that they're unwilling to sacrifice, compromise, hear you out. Man, silently, it just feels like you're in. I don't even know what the correct word to explain it is, because it just feels so heavy every day. And being in the relationship becomes like such a chore.
Yeah.
It becomes a chore to be in a relationship where someone is unwilling to give up something.
Exactly.
That you're always constantly sacrificing, thinking about, how do I push us past this point?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you need to be pushed too. And you don't get that from the other person. That's hard. And I know a lot of relationships like that. I feel like in today's society, I mean, when I look around and I hear the complaints from, just in our generation, millennials especially, dating is hard. Being in a relationship is hard. Being married is hard. Being a parent is hard. All of it. And what do they all have in common?
They all require sacrifice.
Exactly. All of it. Every stage of every relationship in your life, friendships, being a parent, all of it requires sacrifice.
100%.
So you're not going to escape it ever.
I've seen too many people who are willing to sacrifice everything for their kids.
And that's unhealthy too. But that's unhealthy too.
Right. But what I was going to say is, and in the same boat, they won't sacrifice anything for their partner. Right? Like, they'll sacrifice an arm for their kid. But when it comes to their partner, it's like, they can handle it. What do you mean? I don't need to do that. I don't know if Jessica would get mad if I went into it, but when she was beginning her relationship, I remember giving her advice about how things have to be different now, because I knew that she hadn't been in a relationship for a very long time. Things have to be different. Now it's not about just you. Now every decision that you make, it's about us. It's about you and your husband. That's hard. I mean, I've pretty much been in a relationship my entire life, but I can't imagine going from only having to think about you to having to let you. Yeah. I remember giving you the same advice.
Yeah, because especially, and we had this conversation a little bit when we talked about feminism, like that episode we had on on our femininity. I have thrived so long on my masculine energy because of the way that I was brought up. So tough, like, you got to be resilient, you got to do this, you got to do that I've never really been able to develop that, right? And so when I got into a relationship and then I got married and then it was time for us to move in together, let me tell you, I was not happy. Those first couple of months, it was blissful, but it wasn't, because it was the adjustment that was very difficult for me. Like, letting go of things that I'm like, but I'm used to doing it this way, and you're not doing it that way. And I do my finances like this and you don't. And you are not cleaning this, but I am. And I have to do my bed. And I mean, that wasn't never an issue.
Make my bed.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I had to make my bed. What did I say?
Profesora may do my bed.
Oh, sorry.
John calls me profesora. He hates it.
Yeah, no. I didn't even realize. But like all these things that they're so minuscule. But when you're in that situation, they feel so big. They're like life or death decisions. And you're like not willing to compromise on them. And that, I mean, I feel like now, especially the wisdom that I have, that I've walked into finally, the understanding that I have has made it easier.
Made which part easier?
Compromising and sacrificing. I'm just like, you know what? This is gonna better our family. Okay. Because there's a common goal. I think that if you guys are not on the same page and there's no common goal that we're working towards X, Y, and Z, it's like nearly impossible.
My Achilles heel, is that a thing?
Your what?
My Achilles heel, is that a thing? Like my weakness? Achilles heel? I think I've heard that somewhere.
I have no idea.
My weakness is that I'm always been too willing to sacrifice. I've always been the sacrificial lamb. Like, if there's a sacrifice that has to be made, I jump in front. Like, I got it, don't worry. And that's been slowly killing me. That's the honest truth. Because even though, yes, I'm the one jumping for the sacrifice, I've had to stop myself, now that I'm coming into the realization that I don't need to be sacrificing myself 100%. Like, in my relationship as a parent, as a daughter, as a sister, as a best friend, there are times when it's okay for me to choose me.
Of course.
And that's been my challenge.
That's why I said
it's trying to not sacrifice. Right.
Some people are unwilling and some people do it too much.
I've seen
finding
mothers,
that middle.
Yeah, it's finding the middle ground where you make sacrifices, for the betterment of your relationships, whether that's platonic, parenthood relationship, a child in whatever relationship it is, even in your careers, right? You can make sacrifices, but if it's to the point where you're making so many sacrifices that you're depleting yourself, then there's a line that has to be drawn. That's my challenge. My challenge is the opposite of Jessica's, where she didn't know how to sacrifice because she always has to think about only her. Same with you. For me, since I've been in a relationship, I was in a serious relationship from the time I was like 16, 17. And pretty much like, yes, we broke up, but then I got with my current partner right away. And not only that, even before that, in childhood, as the oldest daughter, I was always just expected to sacrifice these things and like
sacrifice your time at that time,
everything,
your childhood, all of it,
and do it with a smile. It was just an expectation that I brought into my adulthood, and that now I've made the realization that like that's unhealthy. I'm losing myself in this, in this constant sacrifice. And I've seen too many moms. I was gonna say I've seen too many mothers who, in motherhood, yes, and parenthood in general, yes, there's sacrifices that we make for our kids, right? I'm about to have a newborn. Sleep in the first 2 months, that's going to be gone, okay? I know that. I'm going into this knowing that already, like, it's going to be a bumpy ride when it comes to sleep, most likely, right? There are things that we know we have to sacrifice as parents. But there are times, a specific friend comes to mind where I feel like she will sacrifice her relationship for her kids a lot of times. And that's not healthy either. Like you still need to be also a wife.
I think those lines are always blurred.
Yeah.
Sacrificing your relationship. But a lot of people rather sacrifice their relationship.
Right.
Instead of having to sacrifice whatever it is with their kids. Right. Is what I meant. And so that's not healthy either, because we've talked about this in other episodes.
We get shit for it all the time,
and I'm gonna my guns are gonna stick there. Like, I am always going to be team parents, team relationship before your kids. Doesn't matter I don't care your explanation. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. And it's funny because I told my husband this the other day. I'm like, I was in the living room and he came home from work and Cairo was in the kitchen. He was like, oh, cosita linda de papi. And I was like, claro, y la chopa aquí. He's like, when Carol gets old and he leaves, no te estés quejando, because you come to me after you come to him first.
Yeah.
And that's just me being real. And he was like, no, that's not like that. It's just that he was in the kitchen. I was like, no, you do that a lot. You always go to him first before you come to me. And it should be the opposite. He should see you embracing me first.
Exactly. I agree.
And he was like, I will lie. You know,
and
like,
these little things, they don't seem so deep.
Well, because
but our kids are absorbing all of it.
Of course they are. And he was like, like, you know, like
they see it. They see the body language of the parents towards each other. They see the language of them. They see their tone. They feel and they feed off of all. And I
told my husband, I'm like, when Cairo's living his life, and he's not home, who you stuck with? Me.
You're stuck with me.
So let's make sure that you're filling my cup.
Yeah. Well, you gotta fill your own cup, but
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't. We know that. We know that. I mean, like in that aspect, make sure that you're also making time for us,
right?
Because Cairo's gonna grow up, and Cairo hates when I talk about this. He cries when I talk about like him growing up and him not living with us. He's like, I don't want to. I'm like, it's too hard to comprehend now, but you're gonna want that. Trust me. And so I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, we gotta make sure that we are doing this for each other too.
It's so different for us because we weren't really taught that, like not verbally at least. I feel like my parents, when they were married,
I didn't. No.
When my parents were married, I did see them put each other first, right? But it was never verbalized. You know, like I had never heard anybody say like, no, our relationship is a priority so that you guys can see a healthy relationship. Like it was never black and white, you know? Now that I'm an adult and I can look back, I'm like, no, they were definitely always putting each other first. And I loved that. Remember the Father's Day episode when Travis from We Still Like Each Other said in his response that he wants his kids to say that his dad loved and respected his mom, their mom, because now they're having a third baby. I feel like this is my kid too.
I know,
and it's a girl. Like what? So yeah, so baby girl, you have 2 more internet aunties over here, but yeah, that is the vibe right there. You know, what do you want your kids to say? My dad loved and respected my mom. Dime, María. That is a blueprint for them to how they're going to be with their future wife.
It's so funny because I told you this when we went to Florida. Cairo, my husband, and I went in the photo booth. And we took like those, like, you know, Polaroid. What are they called?
Photo strips?
Yeah, the photo strip pictures, right? And we get in there, we're doing silly faces. And there was one that my husband grabbed my face to give me a kiss. And Cairo was smiling in the picture. So I go to Cairo. I'm like, Cairo, which one is your favorite one? And that's the one he picked, that we were kissing each other. And when I asked him, why did you pick that one? He's like, little liar. He's like, because I was smiling really big there.
No, you liar.
He thinks it's so funny when we kiss.
Really?
Yeah, he giggles. He's like,
the girls are at the point where they're like, get around.
Oh my God.
You know.
Anyways, I will say, let us know what you guys think. Who do you think needs to sacrifice? Is it the person that's already sacrificed 2 times?
Are you talking about the first situation?
Yeah, the first. Let's go back to that. Let's get your opinions. Please comment.
We can get 2. We can talk about the Christmas sacrifice too. We can talk about that too.
Yeah. I told her, she's like, I'm not giving up my Christmas. He can have Christmas Eve and he can have Easter because I don't care about Easter. I was like, damn. Wow. I was like, but how about if your family decided to do something? Are you going to still stick to that? Because that's the thing. Not only making the sacrifice, like being a person of your word and, you know, following through with whatever that said sacrifice or compromise is. And I think that's tough.
I've had to sacrifice some holidays.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it's not fun, but like, you know, you're just used to doing certain things a certain way. So that's been something. But I do it because I can't just expect John to always go to my side of the family, right? That's something that you don't think about that. When you go into a relationship, she's smart that she jumped to that right away. But I never thought that far into like, this means that for holidays, now we're going to have to do things way differently.
Everything. Vacations. Her family's a big vacation family. And like they're in the, like, she's the oldest. So she's 31. So she turned 32. Just turned 32.
Okay.
But she's the oldest. And then it's her brother who's 30 or 29. and then her younger sister who's just finishing college. So they are still in that place in their family where they still travel in the summertime. Like right now, they're leaving on Monday to go to wherever they're going. But they do this as a family still.
That's gonna be us, babe, with all of our kids when they're in.
And I hope that they, even with their partners, decide that we can still do this. Yeah. But I'm also gonna be understanding when Cairo is like, Mom, I have to go with them and their family to do X, Y, and Z. Is it gonna be weird and hurtful? Yeah. But remember, I have a plan.
Say something about that.
I have a plan.
Because for me, it's a little bit of a dilemma. So, for example, my husband's mom's birthday is the same day as your birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, what? Am I going to miss all of my sister's birthdays now because I got to go to his mom's birthday?
You compromise.
But that's how it feels.
It feels like that, but you compromise.
It's going to be a sacrifice.
Because at the end of the day, it's his mom.
No, but you can compromise. All right. Yeah, but what are we doing for your mom? And what am I doing? I'm taking out my sister for brunch so that we can go out to dinner with your mom at night. And you still celebrate with both. That's a compromise. Now, if you say, I'm not going to go to your mom's birthday because I got to celebrate with my sister, that's not fair to your mother-in-law.
Sometimes her mother-in-law lives in a different state. So sometimes it's difficult because they're staying here. Mm-hmm. And she has told me, like, I feel weird just leaving them here to go, to you. But honestly, I don't get offended. But if you talk to him, it should be
like I know you don't get offended, but at the same time, I also want to spend time with my sister. Like, obviously, I get it. And like you said, she doesn't live here, so it's not like we can just go to her house and spend some time and then.
But when she is here, that's a compromise.
But exactly, but she's here. Like she
stays
to
here.
Visit on like around her birth and stuff like that, so she can spend it with her sons. So either he's gonna have to spend it with her, and then I'm just gonna have to take on my own way and just go to my sister's, because I think it's not even like we do a party or anything like that. It's like when we go out to eat, I don't want to miss that. Those are memories that I want to have.
Right. And I get that. And I'm not saying that you can't have that, but you can do something special with her. Like, hey, my sister's birthday is also today. So, what would you like to do? What can I do with you to spend time with you now? What would you like to do? And even if I come back, I need to go and also celebrate with my sister, but I want to make sure that I celebrate you too.
Right. That's just where communication comes in, and that's where your husband has to be a little bit understanding and be like, okay, listen, this year we can just, do whatever we do with your mom, but next year is my sister's 35th birthday and she's not going to be pregnant. So we're going to do something big. And I need, and not only do you, because I know that you want him to be with you too. That's another part. He's going to have to make the sacrifice of telling his mom, like, listen, Mom, I love you and I know it's your birthday. We spent the last 3 birthdays with you, but this birthday, we're all going to go to Cancun for Beverly's 35th. I'm claiming it, okay? I've been wanting a birthday trip
gonna be
since
pregnant
I
by
was
that
30.
One. Somebody's gonna be pregnant. Not me, though.
Not me. That's for damn sure. Definitely not I. I went pregnant for John's birthday to Cancun, so that doesn't matter. But
I feel like I'm in a different place. I can go pregnant and still have fun.
Yeah, not like with Cairo, where you were the biggest.
But I wasn't even mad.
Grouch monster.
Cynthia, we have
your
videos.
face reflected something.
Yeah, but that's
different.
just my face, and we've been over that.
No, that's not your face.
Okay,
that's my face.
Get out of here. That's her face.
Anyways,
not your face.
Leave it in the comments what you guys think.
We have 3 things now that we have to have we want your opinion on. Okay, the first one is Jessica's birthday situation. So her big sister, who's her favorite sister in the whole wide world, and her mother-in-law have the same birthday. So who has to sacrifice? Who has to compromise here? Is it her husband that has to be okay with her going to her sister's? Is it her sister who has to suck it up and not be with Jessica every year? Or is it somewhere in between? Well, like I said, that it should be like maybe this year we do this and next year we do that. Or maybe the morning is for one of you and the evening is for the other. Or Saturday with your mom, Sunday with my sister, whatever that one is.
A compromise.
Is that a sacrifice or a compromise situation? For your friend, is this, the holidays, they haven't even gotten there yet, but she's already contemplating that it might be an issue because it's such a big deal for her. Mm-hmm. The holidays and the
I don't think
vacation.
It won't be, I think she's just, once again, she's nervous because she hasn't been in a relationship. A little? I know that they're going to find a way to work it out, right? I just told her that she needs to go in with it with an open mind of sacrifice and compromise.
I think she's going in with the same mentality that
you used to. Yep.
Because she wants to be in a relationship. She's waited a long time to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
She's not going to kill it over Christmas because I will punch you.
So in that situation, right, where it's somebody who has really important, like strong traditions for Christmases and whatever it is for holidays and for vacations, is that also a sacrifice where sometimes she's going to have to make the sacrifice, sometimes he is? Or is it a compromise where they have to find a middle ground each time? Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? And the third situation was the moving. We talked about how Jessica's friend wants to move to another state and her husband is more nervous to do so because he's not as established and he's starting to build something where he's currently at. Mm-hmm. Is this a place where, she continues to sacrifice and they stay here until he's more established? Or should he just make the sacrifice because it's his turn and like try to figure out ways to make it work in the new state? So,
but it sounds like he wants to move too. So it would mostly be a compromise of when they get there, not moving where she wants to move, but finding a place that's closer to his job so that they're able to fully do this.
Does he want to move? Has he specifically said that?
That's what she said.
He says he wants to, and then tomorrow he gets mad and he doesn't.
Then he doesn't.
Then
he says that he wants to just to make her happy.
I don't know.
Because if he wants to move, you can be happy or you could be upset and you still want to move. But anyway, guys, that was our episode on sacrifice versus compromise featuring the lovely Jessica.
Yeah. I have a nugget.
You have a nugget?
Okay. We're just going to fly by that?
Yeah, I forgot.
Pregnancy brain. So my nugget is going to be quick.
Okay.
It's going to be, if you're in a relationship, wanting to be in a relationship, working through, a relationship, you have to understand that compromise and sacrifice go hand in hand. And at some point, every day you're making a compromise or a sacrifice at some capacity, from the smallest of things to the most life-changing, life-altering decisions, right? And if you want to stay in a relationship, if you want your relationship to work, you have to understand that that's just going to be part of it. Mm-hmm. If you're unwilling to listen to the other person, find out what's going to be beneficial for both, what's going to help you guys grow and go to the next level
and move forward,
then we're done. And you don't want to do that, then you shouldn't be in a relationship.
Agreed.
Because it's not fair to the other person. So really let that sink in. Mm-hmm. Let it simmer. Simmer.
Who got the keys to my bima?
And that's it.
I just thought of something that I want to talk about real quick. Can we just talk about the small sacrifices that we've made? The small that seem really insignificant, but they're still sacrifices that we've made. Because one of them came to mind for me. The side of the bed that I usually slept on, I had to sacrifice it.
Didn't.
I did.
That's something he made the sacrifice or compromise. Like, this is my...
I did. When Jonas was born, because on the side of the bed that I was sleeping, the what do you call it? The bassinet didn't fit. Oh. I had to go to the other side. And then he just got used to my side, so I made the sacrifice of letting him stay there. That was a small but significant sacrifice.
That's huge.
Oh, one that he made for me? The socks.
Yeah, that's something. I get mad when I even hear about this.
So John used to be a sock sleeper. Like, he couldn't sleep without socks, just like Cynthia. But I've said physical touch is my love language. I can't go to sleep without rubbing his feet. So he would go to sleep with socks, and I would literally wake up in the middle of the night, take them off of his feet so that I could rub it, or at least take one. He would wake up with one sock, like, what is happening while I'm sleeping?
I'm not. No.
He got so used to it that he doesn't even fight me anymore. He's sacrificed, and he goes to sleep with no socks.
That's like jail with a fan.
What?
He got here in winter, and when he saw me crank that fan on, he was like, "Are you insane?"
You are insane.
No, because now
I get
he
it.
won't sleep.
I get it.
Now he won't sleep without it. Anywhere where he's at, he's like, "There's no fan."
So is that a sacrifice, or because he just got used to it, so he didn't really make the sacrifice?
Oh no, we fought a lot in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
so he had to sacrifice it.
Okay.
I was gonna say with Alejandro, he had to get used to that too, because I like to sleep in the cold. Like, a mí no me busque en lo caliente. Don't snuggle me either, because I'll push you away.
That'd be a deal breaker for me.
So I sleep with the fan on, and in winter I open the window.
You are abusive.
Yeah, but I
don't open it all the way. Like, I don't fully open the window,
abuse.
But the window is on his side.
Listen, when you sleep with the fan on, not only the noise, but that fresh breeze.
Yeah.
I can't breathe. I do sleep with a fan right now. because Jace's little toddler bed is on the other side of our room. My room is pretty big, and the AC like doesn't really hit his size. I feel like he's suffocating. I feel like it's too hot for him. So when I put the fan on so that the AC can like get transported to his size, so I'm sleeping with the fan currently, but not for. I'm making that sacrifice for my baby. Honestly,
I love the noise of a fan. I can't go to sleep with dead silence.
No.
Oh my God, I love it.
I don't sleep with it. They hit in my face. I could put it on my feet, obviously.
No, I hit it in my face.
But I do like the breeze that comes to the window. Although I don't sleep right next to the window. That's him.
I guess Steffi.
And I won't take that side either.
Oh, so you want to freeze your husband. Abusadora. What other small sacrifices? The light. Can you believe I never slept with like in pitch black before?
No, me neither.
I never used to like sleeping in pitch black.
I still do. I have a night light in the kitchen and I have one in our room.
I don't like the pitch black still.
Can't do it.
Yeah, no. We got a night light because when Jonas was born, I needed to see him like in the middle of the night to breastfeed, right? Huh? No, it's not that I get scared. It was just like una costumbre. I always had a night light growing up. So it was just I was used to it. And when I was in the pitch black, I already have really bad vision. So I felt like when I opened my eyes and it felt blurry and really dark, it was like almost give me like a headache. I don't know how to describe it.
No, I was just scared.
I was scared too.
I wasn't scared.
I was scared.
I was just used to it. And John has to have it pitch black. We have to have blackout curtains. He gets migraines if he gets a dash of sunlight and it's too early. So I had to make that sacrifice too of sleeping in the dark. But we snuggle. Because if I'm scared, I'm like, hey, give me your feet. Hurry up. So yeah, guys, answer our 3 questions that we had for you.
Wherever they are, you can come on our Instagram.
Yeah, or DM us. I don't care.
DM us. Leave it as a comment in Spotify or
you
wherever you listen to it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Also, if anybody knows of a remote job for Cynthia,
guys, it's real out here. It's crazy.
It's not crazy. God is lining you up for the right job.
I know, but you know.
And you're walking in faith, knowing that it's gonna come at the right time. Stop squinting your eyes.
No, I am though. I am. It's because it's a reminder that I am.
But if any of our listeners know, she's like good at everything, so
I could be short of a doctor. No, I'm just joking. Just joking.
And Jessica, thank you for actually joining us on the mic. You didn't really want to, but
you're welcome.
Why does she look so sad?
She's mumbling, you're welcome.
Well, with that, guys, thank you for not getting tipsy.
You can't say that while you're having a drink.
But I'm not tipsy.
It doesn't matter.
That was just sugar, to be honest.
Literally, I didn't put any. I just put juice and a dash of Malibu.
And I think the juice didn't even have juice anymore. It was like sugar.
It wasn't juicing.
No.
The juice wasn't juicing?
No.
Fine, I'll let you finish.
So thank you for not getting tipsy with us.
But still keeping it truthful.
Bye.
Bye. No, I can't sing it because you're going to use it.
Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on Instagram at Tipsy and Truthful Podcast.
And TikTok at Tipsy and Truthful. See you next week.
Love you, babes.